You're listening to Creators Conversations that features dope creatives, innovators, and leaders from around the world, giving their perspective on life, pivots, and everything in between. I'm your host, Laci McKinney, so let's get into it. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. There are certain creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey, welcome back to Creators Conversations. This is your host, Laci McKinney. I help leaders learn to lead with impact and create an environment for their teams to thrive. I help people through leadership. I also help you with your professional development. And so today I have a topic that I think you will really enjoy. And it's all about you. It's all about who you are and how you show up in your workplace. And so we're going to talk about professional branding and what that really is, what that looks like, and how you can start to develop your professional brand. So let's get into it. What is your professional brand? And so I know we usually think of professional branding when we talk about a company and their product that they may have and what people remember them as. It's the same thing as your individual brand. How do you show up in the workplace? How do you show up as a professional when people think of you, when they think of your name? It's kind of like the mark that you put around your name and your career. And generally, it kind of circles around your strengths. What are you known for? What are you strong at doing? Are you a great presenter? Are you good with strategic planning? Are you good around being a creative? Are you good at developing people? What are you known for, and what do you show up as, and what do you do best? It's also kind of around your messaging. So how are you consistently carrying through the messaging around your strengths and what you're good at and the work that you're doing and the products that you're succeeding producing or the teams that you're leading? All of those things come into contact and play when you're talking about your professional brand. It's also how you express yourself. How are you able to communicate your skills out? That kind of shows a little differently when people think of your strengths, because what you want to do is not only what people see you as when you show up, but how you can communicate that value add, your personality, maybe your values that you look at. All of that comes into play. And it's not just your personal brand in person, but it's also how you show up online. So are you posting things on LinkedIn? What does your social media handles look like? What are they saying? What pictures are you taking? Are you shown, on the weekend always drinking and getting drunk, but then trying to show up in the workplace as a button down person? That's going to show through. So you want to make sure that you are communicating and showing who you are in person, and that is equaling to what you're showing online, specifically around someone that really wants to build a professional brand. Basically, you are your own professional brand, and that's the bottom line to it. And what I really want you to understand, it's about having a good reputation. Sometimes what people know about you does not completely describe what you offer, and that's okay, because you have to understand, how do I communicate my value add to people? How do I consistently continue to show up so they can see who I am, what I can offer, and what I can do? And so I have some things that I want to break down to you and talk to you about to help you dig a little deeper into your own professional brand and how you can develop that and show up as a consistent person throughout anything that you through. So how are you known in your professional career? That's a question you want to kind of be able to answer yourself, and maybe take some time right now and write that down of how are you known in your professional career. And I kind of talked a little bit about some of those things. So we talked about, are you known for a person that shows up and can work great with people? Are you known for building great relationships? And maybe that's something people start to come to you and ask you to say, hey, I see how you get along with majority of the people on the team. I struggle in that manner. Can you help me do that? And so that begins to show that you are great at relationship building. And then that starts to show in your professional brand, and people know you for that. So write down and answer that question. How are you known in your professional career? Another thing around professional branding is it highlights things on your resume. So when you start to build your resume, whether you are just updating it for your next career move. Maybe you are applying it to be able to present at a conference, wherever you may be using your resume for. Because usually a lot of people think the only time that I should update my resume is when I'm going out for a job. But when you are building a professional brand, you want to have your resume always together, because you never know when someone's going to reach out to you to ask you to help them through something, to be able to present, come and do a workshop. All of those things come to play when you are really pushing and showing who you are in your professional world. Specifically when you're showing up online, that kind of happens. You might get a call to speak on a panel. And so these are the things that you want to put on your resume to be able to highlight, kind of who you are as a professional. How are you showing up? What are your strengths? And so it depends on how you kind of structure your resume, whether it's written in the actual job that you do, whether it's highlighted at the top in the paragraph that kind of gives a little bite-sized snippet of who you are, whether it's listed throughout of what you're good at. You can find different ways of how to build that into your resume, but your professional brand should show up on there, and you should be able to highlight those things on your resume. The next thing, what gets you recruited for high profile projects, right? So this is a thing that as a professional brand and you showing up consistently, people are going to recruit you for these projects. And so you want to be one that's known for you to be able to get out there and say, hey, I'm going to recruit Sarah, and I'm just giving a fictitious name, but Sarah is known for being a creative person. She's known for working well with across teams. She's good with influencing them to kind of get done with the project. And so we're going to bring her in on this one because that's how she's showing up. This is how she's showing up in the professional brand and what she consistently does. And so we're going to bring her in on this high profile project. And guess what that does? That actually lets people know that Sarah's the go-to person. So when something comes up, when a position opens up, you're going to be called for that. You're going to be, seen for that and be in line to be able to line yourself for that promotion. So this is all about around you building your professional brand and being recruited for these high-profile projects. The last thing and final thing I want to kind of talk to you about is you've been able to pitch an idea. And a lot of times people with professional brands, they are starting to be seen as a thought leader, right? Or they might use a term as a subject matter expert. All those things come into play. And so if you have an idea and want to change something because it's, want to improve a process, want to improve efficiency, want to pitch a new development tool, whatever it may be, I'm just kind of throwing out some ideas there, but maybe some things that you want to be able to pitch, and you want to pitch your idea to the leadership or your executives or the C-suite. They're going to listen to you because they have seen you show up consistently as an individual that is going to not only pitch ideas, but you're going to be able to carry it through. So maybe your strength is being able to carry through and finish products and finish presentations or finish different things that you need to do in the company. Maybe you've been the one that worked on the strategic plan and you were able to get that project over the finish line when some other people struggled. You're showing up as that individual. You're showing up as a professional brand. And so this is what people are going to start to recognize you by. It's your messaging that you start to talk about. You start to talk about some of the values that you add into the company. You start to align also with your professional brand around your purpose and your purpose for being a leader, for doing the things that you're doing, for taking the next steps in your career. All of these things come to play when you are building your professional brand. And so I hope I laid that out for you. If you have any questions, I always leave my email down in the show notes. Let's continue this conversation. I want to hear from you. How are you building a professional brand? Perhaps what do you need help with building a professional brand as well? If you are really trying to step into your purpose and build your professional brand, I have a masterclass that is going to launch on January the 4th. It is how to own your professional brand and stop limiting your potential of a bigger paycheck. This masterclass is for leaders who want to stop limiting themselves by their title and learn how to build a professional brand that brings them purpose and a bigger paycheck. And in this masterclass, you're going to learn why you should build a professional brand. You're going to understand how you're limiting your potential by focusing on your title, as well as you're going to discover your starting point for building a professional brand. So I'm going to lay out the map there for you. I'm going to help you start to build your professional brand and be able to represent your authentic self. And so just understand, to truly be memorable and impactful, your brand should represent your authentic self. It is the culmination of what makes you unique. So thank you for tuning into Creators Conversations. Please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, rate and review. And remember, a big part of leadership is developing others. So go ahead and forward this podcast to your colleagues and your team. If you're ready to take ownership of your development but don't know where to start, I'm sharing the strategies that help me take ownership of my career and step into my purpose as a leader of impact. This episode is brought to you by the Impactful Leadership Mixtape. The mixtape is your permission slip to become a leader of impact and show the true value of your expertise. You can download the Leadership Impact audio and a 20-page guide at lacimckinney.com/leadership mixtape.